Welcome, A Train, all aboard, tourism fans, to A Train, all aboard, tourism with Omnius Prime. Episode 11, Development Galore. It's prime time for Professor Prime. It's April 22nd of year 20, the 8th fiscal year. Heisei year 20, and I decided to start a little early because I ended up building a brand new train route. Okay, so I added a second line here. Okay, runs through Downey, in through Bell Gardens, then it'll go underground and come out here to West Bell 4. North Bell 1, Holon A, Paso Robles, added another platform there to South Fordor 2. Then it goes back underground over here, pops back out on the other side of the bullet train in Turlock, and I added this East Turlock 3 station, and then was able to run it through Hillmar, so I added a platform there, and then just write out the way there. So that added 5 stations and 3 trains, and about 22.5 kilometers of track. So I've got 662.5 kilometers of track. I've got 174 stations now, and I have 92 trains, 89 passenger and 3 freight. So I've also been busy since the beginning of the year. I did get a good subsidy, so what I ended up doing is over here in Carmel, I decided I'd build an aquarium here. Oh, wait, no. Wait a minute. Science museum right here, I think. Oh, wait, there we go. Here we are. So I built a science museum over here by South Carmel 1 and the Los Padres National Forest. Then came down the way in Apollo, Colorado, here. I'm building an aquarium. And then further down the road over here, I'm building a kabuki theater with a office building 3 right behind it, just to fill in that little space there, over between Devendorf Park and stuff. So let's take a quick look at employee headcount. I now have 14,501 employees. I added 3,758. It automatically gave me 3,758. I started about 800 below what I needed as I was building up my March Madness and stuff. So now I've got about 2,000 employees that I need to create jobs for. So that means lots more building expensive buildings. So now I got to wait for. So let's just see. I scored a pretty good. Oh yeah, so it was like 9.873 billion for the those recreation buildings. So that was a really hefty subsidy that I was able to pick up. My population's at 617,000. Economy level 4.6 trillion. Hanging in there with the, whoa, look at that. Looks like all of my tourist routes are behaving kind of under control and nice. So now what I'm doing is just going through, and I can still build one more subsidiary. I've got a couple of turkeys here that aren't performing so well, so these are buildings that I can go ahead and um, quick sell, get the money, take a loss, reduce my taxes. So I don't mind losing money sometimes. You don't want to make a habit of it, but sometimes you just do it to build up population and stuff. So I'm just going through now. I'm going to wait and see what kind of subsidies I get. As you can see, I've got a whole bunch of empty space here. So as soon as I get subsidies, I'll start building some more expensive buildings, commercial, residential, and recreational. And now I'm just kind of working on building up my roots here. I'm going to put in department store 2 right here, just because it looks like it's going to be a good place to put a department store 2. So I am proceeding along. I will be back on May 31st to pay my taxes, which are about 196 billion. Here it is, July 15th, 7:51 a.m. Heisei year 20, fiscal year number 8, and right here I'm at Seaside Dunes. What I've been doing now, I have basically a two-prong building strategy for my subsidiaries. What I've been doing is going through, whoops, let's go through the station list, okay? So I'm down here at Seaside Dunes, which is, be very careful not to change the sort order, which is station number 102 out of 174. There was like 171 passenger stations. So I've been going through now, and each of the ones that is a small station like Pajaro, Elkhorn Slough, Laguna Seca, I'm going through now and adding an apartment 4 and mid-rise building 6. Okay, so what I'm trying to do now is, as you can see, this is like 4,600 users per day, which isn't bad, but what I want to do is get it over 5,000. Then I remodeled the station up to the bigger building. So one of my prongs is building up station activity, so I can build up the stations. The second one, of course, is to look at the government subsidies and take advantage of them. So now in 9 minutes, I'm going to pick up 80.469 billion yen for some of these projects. There's like 15 billion here, Monterey City. The Bell City over here was like 17 billion. Turlock City, 10.5 billion. Seaside City, 10.4 billion. Whew! So I really got a lot of really nice subsidies, and that 80 billion is more than I made in any of the previous years in any single year, and I did that in basically 1 month. And sometimes what I do is I have some buildings here that are kind of poor performers that I will cannibalize when I'm doing subsidies. I don't when I'm just building up my stations. The Alisal Mall is kind of a little underperforming, but I'm trying to now build stuff around it. I built the mall annex just for grins because of the subsidy, you know. I've got a science museum here. This Kokugikan is going to finish up today. Now, I built the tower 2, and it sold pretty quickly at a nice little profit. So I've been going through using the subsidies to build upscale buildings. There's another science museum. There's a mid-rise building 10. So a hotel 3. Another high-rise apartment 4. So I've been using subsidies for these nice, expensive buildings. So as you can see, I've got 180 subsidiaries. So right now I can't build anything, even if there were open building slots. So it gets very tedious. Like I'll have to run until I sell a building, then I can build a building. Then I have to like run the clock slow to find time like between about 11 a.m. and about 6 p.m. When I might be able to build new buildings when a building finishes up with the building part and becomes completed. And I have been building quite a few. Um, these are my big projects right here that I've been building up. And then these are, like a lot of the regular stuff. And as you can see, everything's up for sale. Got a couple of mid-rises here coming that will be built soon. Love those soccer fields for and athletic fields for the land subsidy giveaway. So yeah, and now I'm back to basically after I'm done with building government subsidies. Okay, so I can't build anything else. These two road and rail just are worthless to me. So now there's two. There's one in Turlock, one in Carmel City. I'm hoping will pop up on August 1st, and I'll have some new buildings that I can have subsidized while I'm building. So let's just go ahead and run some clock here and watch the procession of dividends. Now, I paid my taxes of 196 billion and I paid dividends of about 15 billion and I've spent quite a few couple hundred billion on building up the buildings and stuff. And as you can see now, the Kokugikan has been completed. It's going to operate at 80%. And if I want to sell it, now let's talk about this. There's a hint in the game that says that if you wait at least a year, you'll be able to profit more on the profit on the fixed asset sales. Okay, that is true, but it's misleading. Okay, the way that things work, this building price over here of 15.8 billion right here, and the handling fee, I don't know, that might be expensed out. But right here, that would represent on 5 years over 3 billion in depreciation in the first year. Okay, so if we look at this, the book value says 18.6 billion. Okay, technically, what should be happening is the expense of the 3 billion in depreciation should be written off against the book value, but it's being written off against retained earnings on the balance sheet, which is actually not correct. It actually is a cheat that helps the player. So in the first year, the true book value should be the book value, the cost minus the first year depreciation that gets expensed. But the depreciation expense happens in a delayed manner, 1 year behind. So the moral of the story is when you get a new building, sell it because your profit is reduced by the amount of the first year depreciation you're not getting charged for against the book value. So you're going to pay less taxes when you sell assets earlier. Now, if you get to the point where you sell the asset in year 6, wow, then you have basically hardly any book value. Just the land value would be the book value, and then you'd have a whole bunch of profit depending on the price that you get. So I have to get back to my building progress. I'm going to go back here and start building up stations until I get to the end of the month, and then I'll look and see if I have some good subsidies, build some subsidies. Now, the reason I didn't do a capital, an initial or a public offering, I've got 12,795 staff required. I've got 14,500, so I'm over by almost 2,000. But here, I decided I don't need 140 billion more yen. I've got plenty of it. So right now, I decided that I increased the dividend by 5 yen, and my book value, it just keeps going up, which is a nice trend to have. And then maybe next year I'll go for selling some more stock. But as you can see how it dipped around 7.1 when I did the dividend, and now it's steadily climbing up. It's September 15th. Hey, say year 20, 7:50 in the morning. And it is almost money time. So let's take a quick look at some statistics. Population 627K. Economy level 4.759 trillion. Now let's look at the government policies. Look at all of those money bags on the map. All but one. All but one. 80.428 billion coming in a matter of minutes. Bingo! So as you can see, quite a little parade of subsidies. Really makes the world go round. Right now, I'm back to building up around my stations, and I can build one building, which of course is going to be an apartment 4. So now what I'm doing is I'm building apartment 4s and mid-rise 6s, the commercial building. I'll actually demolish this road and that road and kind of clean up that little thing there so that I can build that mid-rise 6 right there. So trade, I'm actually doing some trade everywhere. I was selling fish overseas because I was getting a good price. But it came down to I needed to switch over to agriculture overseas so I could sell some some agriculture overseas, in the northern area from Salinas. So then what I did is, even though I could still keep selling the fish overseas, I canceled the contract, set it up so that I could sell overseas for the agriculture, and then I just decided to sell to Oakland by truck, so that way I could keep the fishes being sold. And while it's not as good a price, it wasn't that far off. But the overseas price for the agriculture was really pretty spectacular at 4.610 million, and here you've got 4.16 million to Long Beach. So definitely a good profit margin there. Speaking of which, on my income statement, I owe 131 billion in corporate taxes because of that subsidy revenue, which for this year is standing at 212 billion. And if I look at last year, the subsidy revenue was 68 billion, which was a pretty good year. But This is like a real spectacular year. Now, I've got 121 billion now thanks to those subsidies, so I almost have my taxes paid, and I'm doing, quite well financially. So it's just build and flip, build and flip. What I'm doing now is going back through my station list. I'm down here at South Salinas too, and everywhere where I've got small stations, I'm adding another apartment 4 and mid-rise 6, just to get more passenger activity going, get more growth going around each of the stations, so that I can eventually upgrade them when they hit about 5,000 passengers a day. Here it is, March 31st of fiscal year 8. 8:50 a.m., and it's time to pay back the bank. So first off, let's go ahead and get the banker happy. Now, I discovered earlier that there is a loan limitation. I can only borrow up to 999 billion Japanese yen at any one point in time. I wanted to do a nice even trillion, but no. So let's borrow 999. I'll go ahead and pay back the 860 and confirm. Okay, that's 60 billion in interest, which is going to be about 24 billion in tax savings. Now, let's just take a quick look here. So at 215, I would have been around 239 before. So there's the 60 billion in interest paid, and I still have 215 billion in tax bill. So subsidy revenue 219 billion. This was like a bumper year. 361 billion in fixed asset sales. So doing very, very nicely. Okay. Let's just pop back out here. Now, as you can see, I've got two big building projects. This is a Stadium 3, Monterey Bay Galaxy, after the LA Galaxy. That's a soccer stadium. This is the arena, the Stadium 2, Monterey Bay Warriors for the Golden State Warriors. Now, I did build another little rail area. So I built East Monterey 2, East Monterey 3 for the stations, and then I got a line running from Monterey Memorial around the two stations up to Laguna Seca. So I decided, okay, because I wanted to do something with this area. I'm glad that I didn't fill it in originally. So now I'm just going to take it risky. I was, at the beginning of March 1st, I was down 4,500 employees. I had 4,500 employees too many. Okay. Right now, I've got about 1,000 that I'm short, which is okay. And let's take a look here. I've only got 165 buildings instead of 180, kind of saving some. Now, I'm going to do something with this later on in this segment. I am only now selling buildings that show a loss. Okay, well, this one, I guess I'll cancel the sale on that guy. Sometimes they go back and forth between their utility and stuff, 60, 70%. So as you can see, I've got quite a few buildings. I stopped building the apartment 4s and mid-rise 6s back around December 24th. And so January, February, I didn't build anything. And then March 1st, I started building a whole bunch of stuff, usually expensive stuff. Now, the other big thing that I did during the year was upgrading stations. And I noticed that if I want to construct a station building, there's now a station building 3, which is really cool. But when I go to Fort Ord Central and I say, gee, I'd like to upgrade to station building 3, I can't do it. What about the Fort Ord Memorial. Can I remodel him from a station building 1? Nope. And I doubt that I could do it from a small station. Let's just see. Could I do it from a small station? Nope. So what I'm wondering is now when I might be able to use the station building 3s and upgrade some of these stations to that. Let's go ahead and now that I've got the loan paid back, good, an apartment 4 sold. Perfect. Okay, finished rolling out new employee benefits. Employee morale has improved. Let's just take a quick look. And I was doing fine, so we're up to working well, which is kind of good. Unfortunately, don't have the overflowing with energy. So as you can see, this very busy in this central area here. And then I'm going to stop at 1150, and then I'm going to do something rather dastardly. Do a little more of my year-end tax planning. So as you can see, everything's just running real nice. And we're getting close. Let me get it to 1150. Whoops. Yeah, well, that's close enough. So what am I going to do now for year-end tax planning? I want to go ahead and I'm going to just sell all of these buildings. I'm going to cancel the sale and I'm going to quick sell them. So I'll take the loss. I get some money. And what I'm trying to do now is only selling. Now, I'm not too sure. This was doing really well, but then it dropped down in its efficiency. So right now what I'm doing is I just want to get rid of some buildings because I'm not going to be selling them as quickly as I used to before because now I'm only going to sell buildings that lose money as far as operations go. Because this year I'm not going to be building as much. Man, it took me a long time to build everything this year. Lots of apartment 4s, mid-rise 6s, but I definitely increased sales for a lot of my new stations that didn't have much in the way of traffic going on. So yeah, might as well just take this, big loss on the fixed asset sales now. Free up employee space. Because what I'm not sure about is how many employees I'm going to add during this coming fiscal year. And so yeah, I'm just going to slash and burn. And then this way I'm going to have the ability to build more buildings. This year, I'm in year 9, I'm going to build fewer but more expensive buildings. And I've been trying to just, pump up the population. So I've been basically just taking a risk. Don't have to, everything doesn't have to be winners. Okay. So now I got rid of the really poor performing buildings. And so now I've got just pretty much fairly okay ones. So now I'm down to 151 buildings. I can construct 29. So I have freed up some space. Let's take a look at my employees. Okay, now I didn't free up too many, but I'm only down by about 900, a little less than 900. So that's good. Now I'm back down to doing fine again, which seems kind of strange because I just was doing my thing there. So let's just go ahead and close out the year. Okay, Makoto is happy. because made lots of money. So I probably saved about 8 billion on corporate taxes right there. I took a big, losses of quite a bit to offset my gains, but that's okay because once again, I've made profit 8 years in a row. Got 2 more years to make profits 10 years in a row. So now it's just going to be I'm going to build fewer but more expensive buildings and then try to run around and get to the end of the fiscal year so that I can have some fun. Get to the end and win the game. Now I've got 65.8 billion in unpaid subsidies coming in, not as good as the 280 billion ones that I did the year before. So I'll be looking at using subsidies to build expensive buildings. So I'll be back when I'm doing some more stuff. Here it is, July 15th at 7:51 a.m. I just discovered how to get rid of the UI, the user interface, so that you can kind of get a nice whole picture and stuff without stuff being in between. Of course, it also helps, it makes things tough to navigate and stuff. So, this year I've decided to take a different tack. I'm not building as many buildings. And let's just go back here and get the UI going. I've been busy building big buildings. I've still got 11 I can build because I'm only selling buildings that lose money. So like this Kabuki Theater here. And got a whole bunch of profitable buildings here as the ones that lose money are sold. Okay. And so what I've been doing is going through the subsidies and building things like the Kabuki Theater's exhibition hall, soccer fields, things like that, some high-rise apartment twos, and here Botanical Garden Zoo, science, a lot of office buildings. Now, these high-rise apartment fours that I built around, was that 6 of them? I built those without subsidies. Just kind of those are spec buildings on speculation. I just want to see if I can increase the population. So if we come into the government offices, what we're going to see is Izumi gets out of the way, is I finally got my economy level over 5 trillion. Have 649,000 in population. I was at 639 at the end of March 31st. So now when I look at my subsidies, I've got 64.671 billion in subsidies that I can collect. Let's see, there was a nice 10 billion yen one right there in Carmel, and a 13 billion yen one from Carmel. So I took advantage of all the subsidies I could and built. I haven't built a single apartment 4 or mid-rise building 6 in this fiscal year. I'm slowing down on the buildings and stuff. So let's go ahead and run a little clock. There's my cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching of getting all the subsidies going. Now, let's look at my securities. Let's look at A-Train. Now, on 7-1, I raised my dividends by another 5 yen. Okay. So as you can see, the stock valuation has really risen. Okay. So what I'm going to do is, since I just hit a big payout today, I'm going to run another 5 days and get to the 20th. And then I'm going to go for the public offering. So I'm going to pick up another 174 billion in capital. Okay. So I'm just kind of like letting the clock run and build up. Now, talking about building, I'm over here. These office building sixes have completed, and as you can see, I've got several other projects uh, being built here. I'm not sure. Oh, yeah, these are probably apartment sevens. Yeah. So slowly but surely, I'm just kind of like building up the area. And what I'm trying to do is get to the end of this fiscal year end so I can finish up this video. And then I'll only have 1 year to go to finish up the series videos and be finish the completion conditions and finish the game. So I'll probably be back in a little while after so let's just go ahead, take a quick look at a day in the life here. So as you can see, lots of people coming in, visiting the Stadium 2 here. And of course, we found a buyer for the botanical garden, which is always really nice. And oh, I hate it when it just drags you over to the area where they just sold something. But as you can see, I am operating rather profitably. I won't be as profitable this year as the years before because I'm not really focusing on profit on fixed asset sales. Like I only have like 19.6 billion in sales and I've got 8 billion in losses. So my net's not going to be as high. I got a tax bill of 59 billion already. So I'm just kind of like hanging in there. Um, I did expand one train line, the train line that runs around over through Marina. As you can see, that's now a seven length station, and then over to East Garrison. That also is seven length. And then I did the train because that was kind of like a train where it's some pretty good, decent population is back again, and it is 7:50 in the morning on September 15th. I've gone through and done another batch of subsidies, and I'm getting ready to. Let's just go ahead and do that. Run some clock here and cash out. A whole bunch of money. About $40 billion worth. Or 40 billion yen worth. So I did a whole bunch of subsidies. I still got one more of 4.6 coming in, and that should just about push me right over the 600 billion total subsidies received. I still have recreation buildings I can build in Carmel, plus commercial and recreation in Turlock. So I'll go for the commercial first. Let's just take a quick look here. I'm within 1,000 of how many employees I have, so at least I'm getting back close again. And I'm doing fine. I still have to do my employee bonuses and stuff, but I figured I'd wait and then when I do them, make sure to kind of do them quick enough so that I can get from doing fine back up to working well and then overflowing with energy. So I'm just kind of working through here now. I've really slowed down what I'm selling. I'm even selling now a couple of some of these low performing apartment fours. They're making profit, but and they only take one employee, so I don't mind it selling and stuff. But I'm just kind of like keep pumping up the area. You can see how this area I've put in skyscrapers and all kinds of buildings and stuff here. I've really built this area up. I continue to do so. Um, I've got a whole bunch of stuff building here, like skyscraper apartments and high-rise apartment fours, a department store five, a skyscraper apartment four, a kabuki theater. So I'm really going to town over here, building up this new area here. I'm still waiting something that really just I still can't remodel up to a station building 3, although I can build them from scratch. And it's like, man, I just want to be able to do a big mass upgrade of my stations. So I'll be back later on this year and give you further updates as I progress. I probably have about 120 billion to spend on buildings, and I'm trying to now build few buildings, but big buildings, expensive ones. Back again, it's March 31st, 8:50 a.m. And does the banker know where his money is? Before I do pay off the bank and all that good stuff, I want to go ahead and just kind of take a look around and see how the city has grown over the last 9 years. So here we are coming up on the four-doored area where now you can see all these tracks. Now, one thing you notice is, man, I don't have any of my tracks crossing each other. And I don't do any kind of connections between tracks and stuff. I just keep it real simple. I just, this is just too simplistic of, now let's see if I can't, whoops, change directions here and come back a little bit. Hey, that's cool. Got the airplane up in the air. And so as you can see, Seaside has been building up over time. Kind of center on this avenue here. So now I can kind of come through and drop down the altitude. So this is Seaside now growing up. You can see lots and lots of tall buildings are starting to pop up. I've had to build a lot of them. And now there's the baseball stadium that I built a while back. And then I'm going to see what happens when the other two stadiums are built to see if the top four spots will change. And now here we are at Monterey, and you can see over there to the right there's the boat. Now, whoopsie. Let's get back going south. Okay, let's come back up into the air. Manual dexterity is definitely not one of my strong points. Okay, so let's try from about right here. That looks pretty cool. Now, the thing is Cannery Row, which, and it used to be a bunch of fishing canneries. And in the 1950s, when I was a kid there, yep, there were some fires there and stuff. But then, thanks to overfishing, the sardines disappeared, and so did the fishing canneries. And then, over a space of about 20 years or so, it went from being basically a dead industrial area to a big tourist area. So Cannery Row now is this, a really big tourist attraction. Woo! Look at this concrete jungle. Feel a little claustrophobic. And this is Carmel. And I don't know. Well, maybe I'm going to have to get rid of that smokestack. And as you can see, now we're coming out to Turlock. And if I come back around, oh, that I made a nice turn there for once. And head east. There we go. You can see the farmland here. Is now kind of popping up with buildings. You can kind of tell where I put stations because that's where you see a bunch of tall buildings. Apartment fours and mid-rise sixes, residential and commercial. And now we're into Bell. And let's just center up on the road there, which is supposed to be kind of the industrial area. And then if I stop right here and whoopsie, I want to go north. And I want to go like that. And now let's just see. So we got those smokestacks. So let's just come up here. There we go. And come up to the north. So, yeah, I mean, a lot of this area was just farmland or empty. And it's amazing how much I've been building it up and stuff. And Salinas here, I'm really trying to crank up the big buildings here. And like the big Tower 2, there's another big building coming up. And now we come back to Seaside again. So let's go ahead and stop the camera. Let's get back to business here. Heading west. Now, where are we at? Oh, yeah. So let's take a look at stuff. Now, this year changed, and so now the economy is improving somewhat, recover somewhat, okay? You can see that the material, agriculture, marine product prices are all jacking up. I mean, I just set up this Los Gatos run at 3,440,000, and you can see my cost is at 3,230,000. There have been times where I'm starting something at a differential of about 200,000, and by the end of the contract, I could be underwater, losing money on it and stuff. So right now, the economy is finally improving, and probably in the 10th year, when I finally end up, it'll probably be back to a nice economy. So I had to struggle through a bunch of recession and then economy, not doing well, economic slump. So, so trade has just really gotten to be not much of a money maker. I have 180 buildings. I have 3 buildings for sale. These 2 here, and then I think another kabuki theater or something. So as you can see, I'm just no longer selling buildings that make me a profit. And I really slowed down on my building. So let's see, where's this at? Yeah, the Kabuki Theater right here. And I've been building a lot of bigger buildings. I got 2 more under construction. And yeah, they employ a lot of people. So yeah, just check it out. I'm just going crazy. Some skyscraper apartments, stuff like that. I've just been building up some really big buildings, taking chances, and just trying to jack up the population and economy and stuff. And so here we go. And let's take a quick look in the government policies. And I've got 20.886 billion in subsidies coming in. You notice that I left the recreation building subsidies alone here. And then the Monterey one was just, 3 residential buildings, land price subsidized 75%. That's kind of like my apartment 7 kind of thing, where I put it up near some of these stations that aren't doing so swiftly. So let's take a quick look here. Now, the big difference this year, I had that huge subsidy revenue, 215 million. But look at my profit on fixed asset sales, almost 55 billion. My losses, almost 54 billion. So basically, I'm making about what 1.2 billion on fixed asset sales, and that's why I kind of just decided I wanted to get rid of it. Now, some miscellaneous losses. I killed some trade deals that were like underwater and a low quantity. Now, 201.5 billion in corporate and other taxes owed. Ooh. So now let's knock that down a bit. First of all, I need to pay off the banker in 10 minutes. So I am going to borrow instead of 999 billion. I think I'm going to go with 950. So that's 950. Okay, it's still at 7.5%, so that's really cool. So now let me pay off the loan here, and that's 75 billion in interest. Okay. Now I also didn't. I have my employees are working well. I have 17,836. I did have 18,200. This year I have only 16,521 staff required. So I have less staff required than employees. I'm hoping that I don't gain like 4,000 employees like I did last year because I'm not going to be building much. Now, so what I decided to do this time around was save two of my employee plans here for the very end. Okay, so what's going to happen is these two will mature late April, and that will be after I get a whole bunch of employees from the annual company hire at the beginning of the fiscal year. And what I'm hoping is that it will raise it back up to overflowing with energy, and then keep it there for a while before dropping it down to like working well and doing fine. So now let's take a look at what I've done. So now as you can see, I'm at 162.5 billion. So basically, I shaved 39 billion off on my tax bill by doing those two things. So now what I need, so I've got 147.5. I've got 20 billion, 20.8 billion coming in from subsidies April 15th. So basically, I have my basic tax bill paid, and I still are going to have some other taxes, probably 25 to 30 billion, to make up in the 2 months and stuff. But I don't think I'm going to have a problem doing that. So now that I've paid off the loan, we can kind of just watch a day in the life here of the Fort Ord Central area here. You can see that I got tons of tourists. Oh yeah, that reminds me. So it looks like right now I've got my tourist traffic under control, which is nice. 4,069,000 tourists, just a little more than last year. So that's cool. And we're off and running. Now, the thing is now waiting for this area to build up, and these last two stations where I can pump them up to station building 2s. Oh, and I tell you, it's really annoying that when I want to remodel one of these stations to a station building 3, I cannot do that. I can construct a station building 3, but I can't remodel up to it. And I'm kind of wondering exactly when I'll be able to do that. And as soon as I can, I'm probably going to upgrade a whole bunch of stations to the... there we go. So here we are. We've hit the year end, 163 billion for taxes. IACA says we have a surplus for 9 years in a row. only one more year to go for the deadline, and yes, we are meeting our targets. So I have now finished up 2 years. I mean, 8 and 9. Fiscal years 8 and 9. So now I just got to run through fiscal year 10. I Fiscal year 8, I built a ton of buildings, and then this past year, I really slowed down the building count. But what I did was build more expensive ones. So I'll be back for the next video to wrap up the series, taking us through completion.